Welcome to the Small Business Rally Point for Monday, the 17th of August, 2020, as we march fearlessly into the 5 days that we get a fall in southeastern Wisconsin because the snow will fall. I can't even say it. I was going to say the snow will fall soon, but I can't even think about that anymore because that just gives me a headache to say out loud. We're enjoying the last bits of summer. How about that? And this is the Small Business Rally Point. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. And today we're talking with Amanda, who's going to share with us about cybersecurity. And we're sponsored by Serendipity Labs and the new Idea Collective for small business owners. As always, a big shout out to Jennifer Buchholz, who is producing the call, the ultimate connector and my business BFF. And she puts the digits into the chat screen so you can remember things like this. If you want to not miss an episode of the Small Business Rally Point, text the word biz to 414-240-1315. That's biz to 414-240-1315. And you can get a text update every Monday, and we'll let you know who's going to come on the show. You can also text the word wait to that same number, and you'll be on the waiting list when we reopen the doors for the Idea Collective for small business owners. Those doors don't go live until October 5th. Until then, we're doing super cool things to plan to overtake the world, and you can't be a part of it yet. It's for the members only. But on October 5th, we'd love to have you in the group. So today, Amanda Davis of Tech Labs is going to be our guest. We're talking cybersecurity for small business owners. And also, we'll have our Rally Point Roundtable conversation. And to get your brain turning, here's a sneak preview of the first question. Who is one person not on this call that we all need to meet, and why? Someone that would enhance our network, someone that would enrich our life, someone that you think is super great, groovy, and cool. Think about who that person might be. And when we start the conversation, we would love to have you share that. The other thing that we'll do is we're going to do a few exciting announcements. I have new events inside Brand Crafted, and I'm going to announce for the first time out loud the next Brand Crafted Night School. It's on September 22nd. We'll tell you more about that later on in the call. But first things first, the reason why you came here today is to get smarter and to connect with everybody and to do the education today. Amanda Davis from Tech Labs joins the call. So Amanda, welcome to the call. Good to see you again. Tell us about Tech Labs.
Tech Labs, so we'll just do one no S there. And we are an IT firm in Wauwatosa. We've been around for 11 years. And we work with residential clients and businesses, and pretty much anybody on this call who has an IT need. And we can help you with any IT need. As I said, we can work with your computer. We provide antivirus. Then we can do hosting of your website and email support as well. So wide variety of topics. And we've also dabbled into voice over IP and phone systems and home automation.
A little bit of everything when it comes to what Tech Lab can do. So let's talk about cybersecurity for small business owners. How would you define cybersecurity when it comes to what we do?
So cybersecurity in general is a method that you can use to protect your people, your systems, and the data from online digital attacks. This is becoming even more important because so many people, have a cell phone and it always have it on and it's tracking where you are. And then as of 2015, 54% of the world population was on the internet. And so as more people are on and involved, it's becoming a more important topic even than earlier before that. So just to keep ourselves safe, it's an important thing to know about.
During this interview, if you have questions, drop into the chat and we can ask Amanda as we go. So why should I care about cybersecurity? I mean, I'm just a small business owner. Why should I worry about it?
So cybersecurity attacks can actually happen to anybody, and they're actually starting to target the smaller businesses now as well. We've all heard that, Target got attacked and our credit cards got taken as well. And because we hear about it all the time, for all sorts of reasons, we're also becoming a little bit desensitized to it. And so we're not always thinking about it as well. And I'm just going to relate it to COVID quick. We're so in that mindset, but at the same time, it's hard to remember sometimes when you're out and about to, oh yeah, I got to use hand sanitizer. Some people are super religious about it and they will, but I've caught myself today several times being like, oh man, I need to use it, so it's something you just kind of have to be aware of as well. And in general, cybersecurity attacks can help you lose a lot of information, both customer information and your information. And it can cost a lot of money. It can cost up to billions of dollars depending on what is taken from you. And so they can be very costly and expensive to you as an individual and to your small business.
And it could damage your relationship with your clients too. If you get raided or you get all of your information compromised and then they have their information compromised, going to be tough to hold on to that client. So how do we know if we've been a victim of a cyber attack? Because I would imagine sometimes it happens and you don't know that you've been gotten, right?
That is true. So sometimes there's some signs that you would notice that you've been attacked would be your computer isn't necessarily acting the way that you think it should be. Maybe it's a little bit slower, or definitely your financial statements can make an impact. So if you're looking at your banking and you're seeing that this doesn't look right, that's definitely a red flag. Along that same line, you notice that you've lost money. Maybe you can't get into your systems the way that you normally would be able to. That's definitely a red flag indicator there. Same along the lines of reporting. Maybe your reportings and just your numbers don't look quite right, even though you think they should look this way. When you actually look at the numbers, they're not the same. And then just in general, if you haven't done a cybersecurity analysis or training and reporting, and you don't really know the flags to look for, any of that can kind of make you more of a victim as well. So it could be anything from your not getting into your systems, your computer being slower, to your financials not looking right would be some signs that you may have been attacked.
So when we think cyber attacks, we've heard a lot about ransomware. Have you heard a lot about ransomware on your side? And is that as prevalent as it sounds, or is that just a scary new buzzword when it comes to cybersecurity?
I think it is actually pretty prevalent. It's it can do a lot of damage if people are a victim of ransomware, because you can either pay and get your stuff back or not pay and recreate it, and either way it's gonna be expensive and costly. So it is out there. It's just maybe not happened to the people on this call, thankfully, but I think it is out there, and I think it is something, again, to be aware of, even if you haven't been affected directly.
So this is something that scares the heck out of me because, okay, I log on my computer one day and oops, I don't have my stuff or I can't get my stuff. So what do I do? Like after I freak out completely? Like what's step two after freaking out? Then what do I do if I'm facing a cyber attack?
So actually, you lead me into it. The answer is to stop and not panic, because you're going to panic naturally, but that's just going to help elevate you and make the situation worse. It's easy to just like go into that freak out mode, but then you're not thinking clearly. And so you need to stop. You need to call in an expert to help you evaluate the situation. They can help you develop a plan for what the next steps would be, execute that plan, and then report on the plan at the end of it. So after everything's done, they should be able to say, okay, this is what was done, this is the results, and you're now good to go. So it's super easy to panic, but actually that's going to put you in the opposite direction where you need to go.
Yeah, I know. Don't panic is like the worst thing to say to someone who's absolutely panicking. I lost all my stuff.
I
All right.
know.
If you have questions for Amanda, please hop into the chat and we will bring you in a moment. But what are some things that I can do to protect myself? Any pieces of advice, any tidbits, like best practices before we get attacked?
Sure. So there's two thoughts on this. One is people who are reactive. So basically you get attacked and then you start working on the situation. Versus the other thought is the proactive people. So they're going to talk with your IT company ahead of time. They're going to get insurance in place to have cybersecurity protection if they get hit, so that the damage to them financially is not as strong. And then in the end, it depends on what your comfort level is. And so different levels of risk, you're going to feel comfortable differently. So someone who feels super strongly about this is going to want a higher level of maybe insurance and of protection and have a better plan in place, that somebody who doesn't, it still can affect them, but to them the risk is not as high, or they don't think of it that way. Again, it's going to directly to COVID. Different people think differently about it. And so the same is true about cybersecurity. And so your level of comfort is what you're going to do in order to talk to somebody. But either way, no matter who you are, you should talk to an IT professional so that your systems are designed to keep your hackers out. People out there, they used to kind of like be malicious in like a funny way, like, oh, I'm just going to kind of make, work with people, but like poke fun at them or just kind of mess with them. That's it. They're kind of messing with them.
Right.
Now people are like going out there and they're really trying to honestly like take down national governments, and like, so it's things that we just need to be aware of as well. It's not just a sole individual and your company, it's also national as well. And there's national people who are out there working on it, but it takes a team to stop these people.
We have some questions and some conversation coming in. So Jackson, she mentioned insurance. Can you buy insurance? Is it expensive to get? What do you know about insuring cyber attacks?
Yeah, so
go ahead.
okay. So we look at it as an additional package that is added onto a business insurance policy. Usually for small businesses, we're looking at maybe $30 to $60 a year to add some of the basics, like the cost of informing your clients that something happened, the cost of paying the ransomware if you do get ransomware. So paying that, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's like when there's a hostage situation, the ransom, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this happen to a chiropractor client of mine, and he didn't pay the first day, and then the Alexa off.
Yikes. Could you guys hear that the whole time?
Something was going on in the background.
So
That's not creepy on the cybersecurity conversation.
Yeah, really.
So in a nutshell, chiropractor client of mine had ransomware. Day one, didn't do anything about it. Just like, this isn't a real thing. Day three happens and the ransom has doubled. And he called me and he said, what are we going to do? And the solution is you pay it, because as long as you pay the ransom, then they have something of value to give back to you. If they don't pay the ransom, then the whole plot doesn't work.
Right.
So we looked at repaying the ransom. We looked at lost revenue when he was down. His clients weren't getting reminders that their appointments were happening because all of his systems were shut down. There was basically a blank computer screen that he was trying to figure out for 4 days. And then also the cost of the IT professional to put everything back together once it got unlocked.
Sure.
So there's cyber liability, which goes a little bit deeper. There's blanket solutions and very specific solutions, but for small businesses, generally not too expensive to add it on.
So this is, are we talking $1,000 a year, $100 a year? Like, what are we talking as far as a rider is concerned?
My general recommendation with Erie Insurance is usually about $50 a year. And then if we're worried about like liability, like information that you have is lost and there's losses because of that, then there's additional ways to ensure that from there.
That's great. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it, Jackson. Now, Amanda, did you have something to say about insurance when it comes to cybersecurity?
No, I mean, Jackson's the expert, but I know that people like Jackson have the riders to add on, and that is more of a common thing now than people realize.
Okay. Question from Roger Wolkoff. Roger, go ahead.
So I own a Mac, so absolutely nothing can happen to me, right? I'm just kidding.
No.
So just curious what your recommendations are for, what kinds of things I should be putting on my Mac as far as security.
Right. It's still a good idea to have antivirus and malware protection. It's less likely to happen to you on a Mac, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So antivirus, you can do paid or not paid. Paid is going to run continuously for you, and it's going to keep you better protected. Versus not paid is you have to manually run it yourself. And so if you don't remember to do that, then you're more open to attacks that way. It depends on we usually recommend like Norton or Webroot, and our office does offer an antivirus solution for $30 a year. So pretty comparable to what's out there, both for Macs and for Windows. And then Malwarebytes would be your malware protection, and you would need both because they do different things.
Thank you very much.
Good, Roger. Thanks. JB, you were talking about a 3-2-1 strategy. Can you talk about that real quick?
Yes, I was thinking, we did a Ask the Techsperts on this recently, and if I recall correctly, it was 3 backups of your files. So not just one, people, 3. 2 different types of backups. So not like on my C drive and on my D drive, but like on your hard drive and on an external, or on your hard drive and on a cloud. and we recommend one being off-site. So Lynn was kind of putting some stuff out there. An external at home is great, but if everything at home goes up in flames, then where are you at? So, I mean, let's not talk about that, but you know what I mean. So one that I had recently purchased was Polar Backup, and there was a good deal on that somewhere, and I think I got like 5 terabyte for 99 bucks forever. Wow. So just look for the deal, find a backup, and then use it regularly.
Okay. Well, that's a good piece of strategy. Lynn had jumped in asking about his external hard drive, and that kind of addresses that question. So that's great. So Amanda, let's go back to what Tech Lab can do for us. So if we're interested in getting some cybersecurity support, how can you help us?
Well, we already talked about antivirus, and just make sure that it's running regularly. As a user, don't give out your private information or your financial numbers unless you initiated the conversation and you plan to be giving it out. We were talking just now too about backing up and making sure that that's done on multiple methods. As Jennifer just said, make sure that you have it both, external drive and to the cloud or another form that you're comfortable with. And then you could have a cybersecurity professional run an analysis on your systems. They can provide a yearly report to you to see where things are at and go from there. Just again, make sure for passwords, as you're using your passwords, it's a good idea to use a password saver, I guess I'm going to call it, and ones that we suggest are KeyPass and 1Password. Those are 2 different ones, or LastPass. Those are the 3 that we would suggest. And you would use 1Password to get into it, and then you can store all your passwords inside of it instead of having all of your sticky notes everywhere. So
come on.
Jennifer's shaking her head. I don't know if this is good or bad.
The chat has gone off the rails.
Okay.
It is just, and I'm going to blame Abby, even though it's probably not her fault, but I will blame her for it. Yes.
All right.
Oh, I can't. Right. Just, Amanda, you're on track. It's not you.
It's not you, Amanda. Everyone's today. All right.
It's a Monday. Woo!
I am curious, and Amanda, I think you've opened a very exciting discussion. Who is willing to share their backup strategy? Like, I'm sure there are folks on the call that have their own backup methodology that maybe is the 3-2-1 that Jennifer was talking about, but Lynn had shared that he has an external backup. What are some other folks doing to back up their data right now? Because Amanda, that's really the heart of it, right? You're not really as in danger if you have the proper backup strategy because, oh, ransomware, fine, delete, reinstall, and just move on with your life. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. So as long as it's closer, like as you said, you do it on a regular basis and you lose 2 days, that's better than 2 years or 20 years of items. So you're able to, like you said, just kind of move on and reinstall and go from there.
Great. All right, Abby, are you going to share your backup strategy? Because I know you're pretty diligent about it.
Yes, photographs are kind of a big deal in my industry, being a photographer. If I lose my clients' files, that's bad. And I'm sure it's the same for you all, and just not photographs, but different things. So I have a system. I have a 2 terabyte external hard drive attached to my computer. And then once a month, I back it up to another external hard drive that is in an undisclosed location. Don't ask me where it is. No, I know where it is. But anyway, and then I also have Backblaze running 24/7, so that I don't even know it. I don't feel it. It just backs everything up. If I ever were to lose anything, I just download it, and that's it. And then my client files, once I close a session and I can archive it, I zip up the file. That's what it looks like when I'm zipping it. I zip up the folder and put it onto Dropbox. That's actually 4, isn't it?
I think you're winning at backup, Abby.
Yes. All right. Well, that's a good strategy. Roger, you have your hand raised in the chat, so I'm asking to unmute you. And what do you have to share?
Yeah, I do something similar. I don't do the same motions and zipping that Abby does, but I mean, my zipper gets stuck. But that's another discussion for another time. I've got 2 external drives. I Dropbox and sync everything via Dropbox. And then, as far as password protection, definitely 1Password. There's a lot of great stuff out there. So
That's
I
great.
hear you.
Thanks for sharing. I think if you do add the hand motions, though, it'll download faster. That's
Thank you. I'll give that a shot.
science. It is science. All right. Well, we can't have a good conversation about cybersecurity or computers without bringing in Garrett Stein as well, who I'm sure has a lot of thoughts on what's going on. Garrett, how are we doing on the backup situation? Are we talking about a diligent enough backup system here?
The general consensus in the IT world for the question of how many backups do you need, the answer is 1 more than you have. So for backups, we always like using a on-site image backup system. Windows Server has one built in that does an excellent job. There's software tools like Acronis that also does a wonderful job. You also want to cloud it off to a off-site cloud provider. Jennifer, I did a quick Google on the Polar Backup. I have never heard of them before, and you want to be a little bit worried about the buy it for life type plans, because what a lot of these businesses will do, I know you're looking sad there, what a lot of these businesses will do is they'll throw up a business, they'll get a whole bunch of people to buy it forever, and forever for them is maybe a year or 2 before they go out of business and then re-spin up a new company again. So if you're looking at something like that, Carbonite, Crash Plan, there's a couple ones that have a proven track record. Yes, and with ransomware programs are very sophisticated now that if you have a compromised system, they can hibernate and slowly encrypt files over time. So just re-imaging a server will not necessarily get rid of that ransomware. Sometimes you have to go in and manually pull out those flat files. On a small company, having flat files like images or documents, that's not a big deal. When you're looking at a larger company that has a database application, that's where the ransomware can really get dangerous. And I'll shut up now and leave the conversation go on.
Well, I knew you'd have an opinion. I appreciate the feedback and hearing the backup of 1 more than you have. That's the analysis that I was expecting from you, Garrett. So that's good stuff, buddy. I really appreciate it. All right. So Amanda, let's give you the last word as we come back to you for cybersecurity for small business owners. It sounds like, and I know firsthand that Tech Lab does great work. How do we get in touch with you, and what would you do if we gave you a call?
We would have somebody answering the phone every day from 9 to 5. And we'd have people before that if it's needed as well to check messages and go from there. I can put my contact information in the chat, and we can help you put a plan in place and check into your assessment and go from there. And then we can also provide you with antivirus protection. We can help you install Malwarebytes, and we can also do a backup system with you as well and work through your backup plan and create that. So several areas we can help you with.
Well, and you helped us all today just by bringing up the topic. Everyone in this call is like, what is my backup plan? I don't know if So by that, you've already helped us down the road, which we appreciate. And having the extra perspective is really interesting. So anyway, Amanda from Tech Labs, Tech Lab. I got to say it right. Thank you for coming on, and make sure you drop your contact information in the chat. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great to have you. Amanda Davis from Tech Lab, singular. Thanks for coming on the Small Business Rally Point. All right, let's move on to the second part of the Small Business Rally Point, which is the Rally Point Roundtable. And before we get into that, I just want to tease, we've got 2 announcements that we're going to make later on in the show about new events that are happening inside Brand Crafted. One of them I haven't said out loud anywhere, so we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But as we turn to the question of the day, who is one person who is not on the call that we all need to know, and why? So drop your name in the chat if you've got someone, or raise your hand in the little hand raise function and we will come to you. But I'll start with the guy that's always prepared, Michael Rampola. Who is someone that we need to know that is not on the call, and why do we need to know them?
So Rampolla is just off a refreshing weekend getaway vacation, no tech. I think there might even be a little scruff. I'm trying to stall for him for just a moment to give him.
Thank you for
Are
all
you
of the
ready?
above. Yeah, sure. Who do we need to know? You know what? I think there's a couple. I know we tend to be a little bit western suburb, but I think there's a couple folks that are a little more downtown Milwaukee that we need to connect with. One that's coming to mind that I think would expand our circle is Elmer Moore. I think some of the folks on this call are familiar with Elmer. And I think the way that he thinks and talks about business is so in line with what we do here in the Rally Point, and at the same time would help us expand the way that we are seeing our opportunities as small business owners.
And what Jennifer's doing right there is perfect. So if Jennifer or someone can
Thanks.
grab
Perfect, Jennifer.
in profiles of the people that we mention as we have this conversation, I think that would be really great. All right, Garrett, you want to talk about the queen herself, Judy Murphy. I'm going to unmute you. Tell us about Judy Murphy. Why do we need to know about her?
Well, she knows everyone. And if in all my years of networking, there's one person I never want to piss off, and that would be Judy Murphy.
She knows people.
I'm not on mute.
Knows everyone.
That's right. That's right. Okay, that's good. All right, who else has someone that we all should know that's not on the call, and why should we know them? Oh, come on. We've got such a big network here. There's got to be folks that we're missing.
I think Jackson is ready.
Jackson, unmute yourself. Let's go, buddy. What do you got?
Sarah Bauer is just a master networker. Just talk with her about how she meets people. Like, she just does a great job. And she is a master at her craft too. Not only is she good at the networking thing, but when it comes to payments, she knows that industry inside and out. As far as payment collection with anyone using a credit card is what she does.
Yeah, and she's so connected. I'll oftentimes call her just to see, hey, what's going on? What are your clients telling you right now? Like, she's that kind of connected, and she's really up on things. That's a good one, Jackson. Thank you. AFW, who's someone we should know and why?
I got two people. We'll start with Meg Schmidt. She's she's a franchise consultant. She's out of the Chicago market, but comes up here to Milwaukee. So she's really good to give us a pulse on what state to state things are happening, and also an opportunity for us to expand our network. She focuses a lot of franchising, but she also brings in vendors that serve as both. And then the other person is Mr. Robert Hurst, Cigar Networkers of Milwaukee, just because he is a very well-connected individual. I don't know if he knows anything about technology. I don't know if he does the Zoom. I've only seen him in the real live form. So I don't know if he does networking, but he's definitely one to connect with because he knows the back door into a lot of different places. So he's the guy that knows a guy that gets it done.
Yeah, he knows a guy who knows a guy who does the thing. There's no doubt about that. And when you're in a meeting with Robert, he, and I mean this respectfully because it's kind of cool to see, he kind of presides, right? He does, it's not like a networking thing. He's just this force of nature unto himself. And yeah, he's a cool dude. He's a good guy to know. Excellent. Okay, let's see here. Roger, you said that you've got someone that we need to know. Roger, tell us who it is.
Nancy Calso, she's a coach in the Madison area, and I know she's thought about joining before, so we're going to see if we can twist her wrist a little bit.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Amanda Davis, hop in. Tell us about our good friend, Lisa Rabel.
Lisa Rabel she's a master on marketing and the thought behind it and how to conduct yourself in marketing. And I did one of her presentations last week, and even when she was on the night school, I've been blown away every time I've heard her present.
Yeah, she was just amazing on the night school. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Riley, who do you got? Who should we know and why?
I was thinking Kathy Henrik, who is the leader of the Milwaukee Tech Initiative. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with that, but she's leading that group, which is a small group that is trying to change the Milwaukee tech sector from what it is to being a leader in the nation in technology jobs and the whole technology sector, and she's doing a wonderful job with it. So she's a very impressive individual, one that I enjoy talking to a lot.
Very cool. Very cool. And JB, did you get that link? We want to make sure we drop in that link. Thanks, Pat. I appreciate it. Debbie O'Reilly, you've got someone. Tell us about Kurt.
Okay, sure. Kurt, well, Kurt's actually in transition, but he's just a remarkable guy. He's like a VP of operations type guy, or he does like transformational leadership direction, or he's can do things like director of operations. So he's kind of the guy that will get things done. So I've known him for a number of years now, and he's just a great guy.
So what is he looking to do now? Is that same kind of thing?
Like VP of operations, something like that.
Okay. And in the area, did you say?
Pardon me?
In the area?
Yes.
Okay.
In the area.
Well, let's make sure that we drop the LinkedIn link inside.
All right,
because you never know who's looking for people. That's part of this beauty. It was last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. Someone was looking for a job, and by the time we got off the call, we had interviews lined up. So that was great. Sarah Nowacki, you've got to tell us all about Taryn.
Yeah, Taryn Sartler. She works. She's an investment in Modern Woodland, but her real gem is that she does a Take Back Your Time workshop and leads Boss Women? I want to say Boss Women Network. But she has put together, along with Lisa Rabel, this series of, reconnecting, I guess it is, perfecting your pitch, making connections, how to network better in 2020 that has just been wonderful, and helping with time management and everything else. So she's just really somebody that helps you make better use of your time and be more proficient.
And one of those people that's just fun. Like, she's just fun and brilliant. That doesn't go together all the time, and she's both.
Exactly. And super sweet.
Yeah, right? All right, Lynn Karazi, data magician, you've got someone for us. Tell us who we need to know and why.
Yeah, a few months ago, I met a woman named Angelica Colin. She's with the Insperity group, not Sparity, Insperity, doing interim HR, and her real focus is companies that are in that 5 to 20, 25 people range, and providing HR services. And she's just one of these people that has an enormous amount of energy and seems to know just about everybody. So good one I found connecting with her.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate it. Michael, you were talking about the Commons, the folks from the Commons. Tell us about that and who they are.
Yeah, so Joe Peschel and Michael Hostad co-founded the Commons. The Commons, I think, is a really, when I, Tech Hub, Milwaukee Tech Hub Initiative, got me thinking about it. Their original business, but they are constantly on the pivot. Their original business model versus where it was versus it is now. They actually did a summer of virtual internships that actually solved real business problems for real businesses, and real interns got real paid. And real businesses got real good solutions out of the deal. So the way that they have transformed their business model, their offerings, and connected the businesses in need to the people who can solve problems, I think is really iterative and really unique. And I just think they're a great couple of guys who are really on the forefront of some interesting initiatives going on in Milwaukee as well.
That's great. That's a really good one. Patty Barras is with us, which is awesome. I haven't seen Patty in a while. It's great to see you on the call, Patty. You've got someone to share with us. Who do we need to know and why?
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great.
All right. I just got new equipment, so I had to make sure. I wanted to introduce you to Dave Melenda, and I actually think I put the wrong, I'm going to put the corrected. He has a company called Positive Polarity, and he does some coaching, but it's mostly on like customer service and sales, and we've been doing some really nice work with him. He offers a free, usually once a month, a free like little seminar or podcast, and just gives you like some best tips for closing sales and just some great work. So I'll put up the link for his seminar that's coming up this week, and check him out. It's oftentimes free and just some really great information.
And I had the chance to be on Dave's podcast. It was a great time. He was just so easy to talk to, and the episode came out. I thought it was, my part was not so great, but he was brilliant. So we had a nice conversation, and it's a really nice podcast. So it's definitely something worth looking up. So great to see you again. Thanks for coming on. I want to get back to two things. I want to ask Andy a question. And while Andy tells us the story, I want to foreshadow the next question I want to dig into a little bit. So I'll ask Andy the question, then we'll change topics. But the question is, the DNC starts tonight in Milwaukee. Do you or anyone in your network, did they end up losing business that they thought they were going to have booked because of this, what we thought was going to be an onslaught of people here for the next, next 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm curious to start that conversation. But Andy, I want to ask you a question real quick. You were talking about how you met someone on the call and then hired that person, and Debbie's on the call here today. So can you tell us that story real quick? Because that's kind of cool.
You just told the story. That's it.
That's it? The end?
I'm a very simple man, Pat. Okay? I'm on the call. When I'm on the call, I see the people. If I don't know the people, I go to the LinkedIn and I copy and paste the same thing. Hey, great seeing you on Rally Point today. Every time, right? It's simple, repeatable process. And she said, cool.
I thought mine was special.
What's that?
I thought mine was special.
Oh, it is, Pat. It is.
It is. It's special to you. But I do the same thing. That's it. Repeatable process. And if I don't make it any more churched up than that, when people get back to me, I see their interest level because I give the same opening line. And then based on their interest level, we have the conversation. It's that simple. And she has a little banner, little cookie thingy on the LinkedIn that says, I'm looking for work. I'm available for work. I don't know. It's green. I love the color green. It worked. And from there, we set up a call. Then she came in and interviewed. We did the thing. And she started 2 weeks ago. And that's why I missed my call 2 weeks ago on Monday, because we were training on her first day. So it's really that simple. I don't know what else to say. So you got a constant network. That was the first thing I think a lot of people stopped doing in the pandemic. It's the first thing we stopped doing in the summer when the weather's nice. It's the first thing we give up when sales are down, but you always fill the pipeline, and you got to be hunting for talent, cultivating relationships, even when you're not that hungry, because the hunger will come. And for that hunger, we get Quick Trip Fried Chicken. This spot brought to you by Quick Trip, the best fried chicken around.
Well, Debbie, I'm sorry that you have to work with Andy every day, but what are you doing for him?
I'm a regional sales manager, so I'm reaching out to a lot of businesses that are wanting to reopen. We want to help them do that. A lot of schools, restaurants, dentist office, whatever. If you have any leads for us, please let us know.
That's right. Well, if you have a place with employees in it, need to get it sanitized, right? That's Shock and Shield can come in and do the thing.
Yeah.
So people like Pat Riley with his employees and come in and get the place.
So do they all know what Shock and Shield is?
I think that just opened the door for you to explain what Shock and Shield is.
So we use UVC light technology to actually kill off the viruses, right? Because we're in a pandemic. We want to keep it safe for employees, families, students. And then after that, we can apply an antimicrobial shield, which is like a coating that we apply. And this acts like a bed of nails. So when a pathogen lands on the bed of nails, the membrane will break and we eliminate the virus or bacteria, mold.
And how long does it take to apply?
Oh, not very long.
Yeah.
What do you say, Andy?
He's not listening.
There's my mute.
There you are.
Yeah, we come out. Typically with phone calls, we're out within 24 hours, applying within 72. We can treat most facilities within a few hours, depending on square footage. We can particularly treat about 10 to 15,000 square feet per hour. And then the antimicrobial protection on the shield lasts on the surface for 90 days.
Okay. Well, Debbie, welcome back to the call. And now you're a part of the Green Up team. So good luck with that. And Andy, thanks for sharing your secret strategy that isn't secret anymore. And Pat, I'm sorry about your hurt feelings because you thought you were special. But no. You're just like everybody else. All right, let's change topics here because I think it's a big day for Milwaukee. Is this like the most Milwaukee thing ever? Like the DNC announces it's coming to Milwaukee. We spend 2 years celebrating it. Then at the end, we get let down. Like they've got one stage set up, a couple of American flags, and everyone is like every place else. So we ramped up for 18 months thinking this was going to be the greatest thing ever. And then the stupid virus hit. So I want to hear people that you know in your network, or maybe the way you were personally affected by basically the DNC happening, but not happening. this year. So Sarah Nowacki, you jumped into the chat real quick. You have a DNC story?
I have a couple. First of all, I have a lot of friends in the hotel industry in the Milwaukee area. They had full hotels as of the day that it was announced. Now they have empty hotels. Second of all, I also had, on a personal level, I had about 5 clients that had rented out their houses as Airbnbs for getting out. They had booked vacations. Obviously, the rental fell through when this whole thing happened. Therefore, they had canceled because of that. So very big trickle down effect happened on so many levels.
Well, at one point, it was all about capacity because the original plan showed delegates, like legit DNC delegates, not just guests, were going to be stationed down in Illinois and all around the region. People were going to drive on buses for over an hour just to get in. And now all those hotel rooms just went poof.
Well, and hotels were literally built in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So Earl, you said that you have a story. I think Sarah, you might have frozen up there real quick. Earl, what is your story about the DNC?
A lot. When the DNC first began, I began recruiting people, small business owners, because again, not only do I belong to Brookfield, but I belong to the African American Chamber, the Veterans Chamber, Mequon, Thingsville, and Germantown. And I began pushing, particularly with the outlying chambers, they needed to come, they needed to connect, because they were feeling that it was a Milwaukee thing only. And none of them had once I analyzed what was going on, because I had been through a convention already. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I was there. I've been through a convention that they held. And so using that knowledge, I began recruiting people. I had small business owners who said they were going to, basically get some services from me so that they could begin that process. And then, like I said, it all evaporated, rapidly. And by the way, the city was ramping up tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people that I used to work with, in fact, I thank God that I wasn't in my old capacity because I maintained the city's parking operations downtown.
Oh man, that sounds like the first job.
I was already thanking God because I went through like 4 presidential visits.
Oh, right.
So yeah, it was a lot of money lost. A lot of restaurants lost money. A couple of owners that I know told me that they food contracts, you name it. And then on top of it, when you add the pandemic on top of all that, and the Bucks not making the playoff, the playoff not being taking place in Milwaukee, and the Brewers, it's devastating to the whole region. I can't even imagine.
As someone that's been through a convention in their home city, when you lived in Philadelphia, can you give us some scope on just how massive it is and how much it takes over the city? Because I don't think people here really got the idea that it was like a spaceship was going to land on us for 2 weeks.
Let me put it this way. There is no area of your city that would have been untouched. In fact, in the Philadelphia area, the area is commonly called the Delaware Valley. That's a nickname they gave it back on the East Coast. So the impact was going to be from New York City and Boston to Richmond, Virginia, from Atlantic Ocean to almost Pittsburgh.
Wow.
And the impact would have been greater in Milwaukee because one of the biggest differences is the road networks in Milwaukee, like it did for the U.S. Open, allow people to live, to stay like in Sheboygan. Hit I-43 and boom, they're down.
Yep.
Live in Madison, 94, boom, and they're down. Live in West Bend, boom, 41, 45, 94, boom, they're there. The impact was just so great. Because like I said, I recruited companies from West Bend that were going to take part. And I can't even tell you the impact it was going to be. It hurt the inner city. I'm a Methodist minister. I ministered to a church at 19th and Center. And we were working with getting the local people jobs at all these different venues that were going to need people. And I was looking at a tremendous economic impact in the 4 or 5 block area around my church. And just like I said, it evaporated totally.
As someone that spent a lot of your career inside city government, what do you think their opportunity is going to be to kind of say to the DNC, now you know you're coming back here in 4 years, right? Do you think they have a shot?
No,
They don't
I
have a
don't.
shot of getting it back?
No, I don't think so.
And did we do something wrong, or this was our shot?
No,
That's it.
you know something? I think Milwaukee did a perfect job. I really do. But let me put it this way: I've never seen them return to a city 4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a situation. And a lot of it. Now, I will say this much: a lot of it will depend on who's in the White House.
That's true.
It will depend. If it is Trump again, the answer is no. If it is Biden, there's a shot. Because one of the things that Milwaukee pointed out when they were making their pitch was the fact that Milwaukee was really an ideal city for a Democratic National Convention. Had a large venue.
Yep.
The hotel prices were extremely well. Despite the news media tries to paint the picture of Milwaukee, compared to Chicago, DC, New York, Atlanta, Houston, St. Louis, and New Orleans, our crime rate is minuscule.
Yeah.
It really is. And the ability to control an area, to control the convention, is great in Milwaukee, just because of the way it's set up.
Yeah.
It's a lot more difficult, and the fact that people don't have to be in the city. You could, they built what? They built two or three hotels just in the Mequon area.
Well, they're nice and new, and now they're empty, which is sad. Michelle
That's
makes a
correct.
great point that it's also because
That's
it's such
correct.
a swing state, and it would have been
That's
a huge
correct.
influence
Now,
on the Wisconsin.
again, that depends on who's in the White House, and if the mayor and the county supervisor and the governor can be on the same page, maybe they can twist their arm about coming back, make them feel bad about coming back. If that happens,
it's a matter of alignment. I mean, this year was aligning perfectly for us. It would have to be another great lineup in 4 years from now. So there's, about 50% of those factors are in our control and 50% are not. And I think Jackson grabbed a great comment here, which is, as a community, let's work on X, Y, and Z to be identified to prove we're ready in 2024. Start now. I think there's, to the Earl's point, a great opportunity for the people in positions to make those influential moves to start making those influential moves today.
Yes.
So maybe that's the opportunity, Pat.
Yes. Yeah. And we have one advantage. We had a practice run.
This is also true. That's it. Nobody else gets that.
No, Pat, believe it or not, that was one of the reasons why we did do it, because the Bucks were going to make the playoffs this year, right? We explained to the powers that be that we were already ready. We were about to host the NBA. If everything went right, let's face it, we had the best record in the NBA, and there was right now the odds was 90% that the finals were going to come through Milwaukee. Okay, win, lose, or draw. That itself was to.
Yeah, that's in the bid.
And that was like, we were ready. We had the hotel space. We had the experience of running a major event. Now, what we need to work on now is an NCAA tournament bid here.
Yeah, well, as soon as there can be events, the Fiserv will definitely get them. And again, the most Milwaukee thing ever, we finally get back to the finals in a brand new building, and we can't even go in it. So that sucks. All right, Earl, thank you for the insight. I appreciate it. Michael, did you have some trends or stats about the DNC you wanted to share?
I didn't have any specific stats, although that burns me that I don't have numbers for you, but I do have just the general trend. To a client, to a member, we were all having everybody plan and find their angle for the DNC. And we had been talking about that since January and then in March when we were doing our next, Q2 planning, we already had to start shifting people off of it. So it was disappointing, but it was a reality. And so can I say how many? All of them. Every single client of ours was affected in some way because, as Earl said, it was going to affect the whole state and well beyond. There was no getting away from it. There was only turning it to your advantage, which causes me to say pivot. So there you go.
Pivot, drink. Excellent. JB, you have 2 quick stories you want to share about the DNC?
Yeah, so the first is a really good one, back to where Sarah was talking about the hotel scene in Milwaukee. One of our fellow board members in the Brookfield Chamber is with the Home to Suites, and they were to host the whole media. Their whole 2 locations out in town of Brookfield were hosting full of all media from one particular station. And while, of course, they didn't come to play, they paid their bill. They did not renege on the contract. They followed through on that. And to me, I'm like, I don't know what that experience is at other places, but I thought, that's a good thing. And so the other one was, personally, I geared up last year by starting to become a city tours driver so I could haul people around the city and show off my city. And it's one of the things that I love doing and have only gotten to do twice so far this summer. So I was like totally ready, A, to make a little cash, and B, to just show people from all over our city. And so I'm super bummed on a corporate level for city tours as well as on a personal level. But, it is what it is. And I think the conversation about what happens for the next one, I'm ready to position. I can't wait to see where that goes.
One more thing that came to mind is we'll have the Wisconsin Center District expansion done by next year, or next 4 years.
Boom.
In theory. And I know firsthand that Sarah Mayo and the team down at Wisconsin Center District have been busting it to get ready, hiring additional employees, getting ready to show off to the world. And poor Marty and the team, they got put on the back burner. But yep, it's something we all wished for the city was going to happen, and maybe we'll get a shot again in 4 years. But thank you, everybody, for weighing in on that. And also, let's look back on what we've talked about today. We threw out the names of probably 10 or 15 different people that we all should connect with. It's an incredibly powerful way that we can grow our own personal network and have everyone, get to know each other a little bit better. It might not end up in Andy hiring Debbie because of the Small Business Rally Point, even though that's a cool story. It's a way that we can all get better and meet more people. So thank you for sharing those names, and follow up with those folks inside LinkedIn and tell them, hey, so-and-so was talking about you on Rally Point. I want to get in your network, and it would be a great way to spread the word. Also, a big thanks to Amanda Davis from Tech Lab for talking about small business cybersecurity. It definitely gave us something to think about. Now, I said I have 2 announcements that I want to make, so let's get them done. First and foremost, well, there's 3 technically. The first one you've heard before. Next Monday, we are releasing our first pod class called Avoid Small Business Burnout. It stars Serena Talbot from Life Back Therapy, and it is a 2-episode pod class where you can listen in and learn how to avoid burning out, what the symptoms of burnout are like, and what to do if you do catch burnout. And for all Idea Collective members, it's no charge, one of the benefits of being a member, but it's only $29 to the general public. And if you want to find out more about it, visit patmillerideacoach.com. There's a stripe right at the top of the page. You can learn about that, but it comes out on Monday, and I've had the chance to, of course, be a part of it because I recorded it, but I'm really proud of it. And if you're feeling like you could use a little bit of extra mental brain space, I think it's great, so highly recommend. The other thing is we have added the brand crafted Buzz coffees back onto the agenda. Now that fall is heading in, I don't normally do the brand crafted Buzz coffees over the summer, but this is a free coffee meetup that's very simple. We're going to do them on Zoom the first Friday of the month from 8 to 9 a.m. Come in, have a coffee, get to know who's in the room, and again, restart your networking for the fall. So that's inside the brand crafted group on Facebook. And if you're not in the brand crafted group, it's super simple to do that. So hit up facebook.com/group/brandcrafted and you can join. But now the big announcement. Big announcement. We're back with another night school. So inside Brand Crafted, about 3 or 4 times a year, I put on events that are kind of like this, but different, where we have someone come on and teach us something. Night school is a place to go and learn how to be a better small business operator. And on Tuesday night, September 22nd, from 6 until 8 p.m., we're going to have Brand Crafted Night School starring Paul M. Newberger. He's going to do the 3 philosophical pillars of cold call success. So if you are in your gut, like, I don't want to pick up the phone and call that person, I don't want to cold call, in this 1-hour presentation, he's going to help you get over it and teach you some strategies to pick up the phone and restart your business. So if you need to make more connections, you need to make more sales calls, but they make you feel not so great, well, that event is going to be top-notch because he's a great presenter. Tuesday night, September 22nd, from 6 until 8 p.m., 7 until 8 is the presentation. 6 until 7 will be some networking time. So very excited about that. And that information is always up inside the Brand Crafted group. And we will make sure that we talk about it between now and the event on September 22nd. but we want to make sure we get you out of here by 4 o'clock. My thank you to you for joining us for the Small Business Rally Point. Big thanks to our sponsors, Serendipity Labs and the Idea Collective for Small Business Owners. Of course, to the person that runs the show, the brains of the operation, the facilitator and show runner, Jennifer Buchholz. Thank you so much for pushing the buttons behind the scenes. So that's it for the Small Business Rally Point, Monday, the 17th of August, 2020. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. See you next time.